Welcome to Jordon and Drew, the sports crew. Drew's College Athlete Spotlight. We're on episode 10, episode 10, double digits now for the College Athlete Spotlight. And with that, we have an incredible guest on today. We have Jacob Stevens, a Division II wheelchair basketball player. And Jacob, how are you doing today? Are you doing well?
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah.
Sure.
So we're going to talk about Jacob's story today, and I think it's an incredible one. That's why I have him set for episode 10. This is a story, you're not going to hear every day, and that's I really want to show our audience, really like the obstacles Jacob's been able to overcome with sports, and this is why we love sports right here. We love sports for reasons like this, and we'll get right into it here, Jacob. Let's start, back in high school. Jacob played basketball. He started in his junior year, if I'm correct, right?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, so you played for the Houston County Sharks. That was a team through, which we'll talk about this a lot, the Adapted Association of the American Association of Adapted Sports Programs. So the AAA SP, AAA SP, they put on a wonderful program down in Georgia. It's great there. You get some good competitive basketball. And when I say basketball, we're talking the wheelchair basketball in this episode here. So, yeah. They put on just a great thing there. And then they also have, I believe, handball and football, correct? Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so they have all three of these sports they put on. I think putting on even football and handball, we could do a separate episode on those. This is just great stuff, what they do. It's something, we don't see actually a lot in Wisconsin. That's why, I mean, with our audience being a lot in Wisconsin, you don't see that where we're from, our hometown area, the Lake Shore. We don't have that a lot, which we'll talk about when we get to the college side. There is a college in Wisconsin that's really getting involved in it, which is awesome to see. But let's go right back to the basics. Jacob, you started playing basketball at a really young age, right?
Yes, yeah, I did.
So yeah, with that, playing at a young age, that basketball love grew for Jacob, and I've known Jacob now for a while, and as I know him so well, he is a Boston sport fan, and I know that might not be well received with our audience, but hey, he's not one of those that likes to state his opinion. Like, he will not try to shove his opinion down your throat, I'll say. So we like that out of Boston sports fans. But with that, the Celtics being a storied franchise, Jacob, that had to have been an influence, right, with your basketball love?
Yeah. Yes, yeah. Yeah.
Rightfully, it totally makes sense. And yeah, talking then with that, just being able then to play, your junior and senior year, 2 years with the Houston County Sharks. I think this story is remarkable. You start then your junior year, and what got you into it, right? It was with the kyphosis diagnosis, correct?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so Jacob was then diagnosed with kyphosis, which is an extreme curvature in the spine, and that's something, that he had to overcome, and it's one of the obstacles he's had to deal with, and he's just been able to with sports. Like as I mentioned, we love sports here on the sports crew, and just sports are special to Jacob's heart, especially because this kyphosis obstacle, and then also having stuttering and stuff, just being able to overcome that with sports, it means a lot to you, right, Jacob? Being able to.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, because even this article mentions it. Local area down in Georgia by your hometown, they mention how speech impediment and kyphosis were two things you had to overcome, and I think it really helps you just being able to be out in the court and just talk to your teammates, and even here it says you mentioned that when you're playing sports, you just don't have to, you don't stutter. It just comes,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
And that's awesome. And that's why being able to play in college, I think that's certainly a plus here too, Jacob. And also I want to talk then about with your junior and senior year, the two teammates that you've had that were really standout players. We talked before the show even about them because of how great they were to that team. Orlando Hicks and Jordan Kozlowski, and Jordon, especially, not Jordon Lawrenz, but Jordon Kozlowski was an exceptional, she was a phenomenal player. I watched Jacob's junior and senior championship games, and she was a senior when Jacob was a junior. So I believe, right? That's how it works.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
So that team, Jacob's junior year, was something else. They had all the star power. Jordan Kozlowski, a Division I athlete, she's playing at Arizona right now. So big name school there, Power 5. And, we talked and you learned kind of most of what you knew about wheelchair basketball from Jordan. She was kind of like that role model. She kind of took that role, really, really brought you into the game, kind of opened your eyes, let's say, to the world of the wheelchair basketball. And, she's meant a lot to you, right? Yeah. And that's,
Yes. Yeah.
it's good. So, with shouting out a teammate, would she definitely be the one to shout out for high school?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
yeah.
even, Coach Christy Jones too. I know she's one of the top wheelchair basketball coaches. And I know
Yes. Yeah.
she's well regarded around the area, even in Georgia. There's a lot of articles, mentioning her name and kind of that dynasty she's built, because this basketball team, right, Jacob, has won lots of state championships. Like, for example, in state football, they won 8 football titles in 11 years. So it became a point where you might as well just give it to the Houston County Sharks, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And basketball, you guys have won has it been like around that eight of the last 11 too, right? It's been like kind of.
I think we won the last I think 11 maybe.
11. You guys.
I don't know for sure, but yeah.
11. Well, it's around there, right? Because it's an absolute dynasty. As we mentioned, Houston County dominates the Sharks in all 3 of the sports, even handball too. And, with that, you put up some big numbers in your junior and senior year. They actually don't do stats, unfortunately, but I watched the games and the eye test does not lie. Certainly, you were one of those players who really stood out, especially your senior year in that championship game. You guys actually, it was a close game throughout. It was against Gwinnett, right?
Oh, I know it was against
It was against, I'm looking at, okay, Henry County, right?
Yes, yeah.
So, Henry County was the team that they beat. And Jacob actually, he came up with a clutch. They talk about that clutch gene, and Jacob certainly has that. He nailed some clutch free throws at the end, actually, to put the team over the hump, I believe. And, these games, like I said, they were live streamed. I of course, had to catch them both. And it was just a great game to watch, because the announcers really try to immerse you into the game, because a lot of the audience, they realize don't know exactly the rules of wheelchair basketball. So they really try to implement that and really help the team study or really help the individuals, learn overall better the rules of how it works. And I was referring to the junior year, they beat Gwinnett. Your team, Houston County, 39-17. That was a blowout, 22. Kozlowski had 19. She had more points than Gwinnett in that game. So certainly a good role model when we talk about your teammate to shout out. And I want to then kind of touch on recruiting. So now you go from, junior, senior, you graduate from Houston County High, and you actually were able to commit then to a Division II school in wheelchair basketball. That's something awesome. And just going through that, was that, going through that process, that had to have been certainly something, a lot of communication, right, with coaches?
Yeah. Yeah.
You were able to, get into that school, and they did a lot of articles down in Houston County, in that area, the Georgia area. They really had to get the news out, because a 2-time champion went to go play college ball. And that's something, I'm glad the press was able to cover. And that's why we want to cover it here too. Just the story and being able to play. Because as we know with your game, you didn't put up, let's say, those eye-opening, point totals. You were a team player.
Yeah.
You put up, you did the dirty work, let's say, in the post, because you were one of the taller players on the team. You're kind of like that big man, I'd say, for the Sharks. Yeah, you agree with that? And you just you were overall great, with the ball, make the right reads, and that's been something you've been able to do really well in your 2 years in high school playing. You were able to really just get those assists and make those nice passes, those bounce passes. Those can be tough with wheelchair basketball, as we know. And just overall passing in general, because with the rules and stuff, which we haven't really talked about, and I want to briefly mention here with the whole just with dribbling, because obviously you can't really dribble and like move the wheels on your wheelchair both times. So right, you get like two rotations of the wheelchair before you have to dribble, or is it around there?
Yes.
Yep. 2 rotations is what the rule is. So there's a lot of rules you got to keep in mind. They still do the free throw line. They shoot from that line. It's basically seated. You try it. It is tough. It might look easy, but it's brutal. Even you could even say wide open layups. Let's say like those aren't guarantees here in wheelchair basketball, because it's just moving, like you're moving, right? And it's tough. It's not even like they should be making them. Like it just sometimes can get tough. And I'm sure even at the collegiate level, you see some bunnies missed because of the way the chair moves, and you never know what's going to happen. So just to keep that in mind to the audience, like that's why I said 39-17. It's low scoring for a reason. It is difficult to score, and you got to credit the defenses that are run too. And we also got to mention that too, Jacob, with the whole like zone thing, right? In high school, you cannot run zone.
Yes, you're correct.
And then in college, can you run zone?
Yeah.
You can run zone in college. So that's one of the differences. And with college, then we got Jacob. He ended up then in Minnesota. He went from Georgia, the nice warm temperatures, to freezing cold Minnesota. It's been that certainly must have been an interesting change, Jacob. And let's then just talk the whole recruiting thing here. Like we mentioned, just was there any offers that you had on the table that you were considering, or was it just you had your eyes set on Minnesota, Southwest?
Yeah.
You had your eyes set there?
Yes.
Perfect. And let's talk about it. So he's a sophomore right now. Let's keep that in mind. So it's been a few years already. So Jacob now is a sophomore at SMSU, and he plays for the Mustangs. They actually have they do a great job, I think, on their website. I just want to credit them. They really they do a nice job with the sports thing. They give us the stats and stuff. I really like that compared to the high school thing. And I like that we get the whole, just everything shows up very nicely here for their website. And Jacob, let's talk then about, freshman year, kind of you being that freshman figure, not really getting much playtime based on just how it is, being that freshman. They really, make you work with the upperclassmen, just get used to the game. And we also need to talk then with that about the class system. I know I didn't mention that with the high school side, but for the college side, we'll mention it because it gets even more important, I think, because
it does.
You can, if I'm not mistaken, you can only play with 14 points on the floor, right?
Yes, yeah, correct.
14. So we're going to talk about that now. The whole point system. So basically it isn't right. It's a way to class the severity of one's disability, correct?
Yes.
And with Jacob, kyphosis is actually one that gives you higher points, and the more points you have, it ends up being because you can only have 14 points. So you have to find a way to really allocate how many points each player has, and with Jacob being 4 of the 14, you have to have players with less. It's that's just how it is. So that in a way sadly hurts Jacob's chances, right? It hurts your chances to sometimes get that play time, because there's some guys, for example, with a 4.5, there's some other 4s on your team, but they're going to play those upperclassmen. If they have higher point totals that they want them in, they're going to play them. So that's just how it ends up working. Where guys with 2.5, so there's a senior with a 4.5 for the class. So that's going to really you're going to play the senior over the experienced senior over, a sophomore into a second year. And that's been how it is. So hopefully, they can, with the class system. And is that something then that is is that permanent, Jacob, or do they really reevaluate the point system every year?
Well, it's not it's really
it's not set in stone.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to know if there's some wiggle room always, because they're like we mentioned, it's a lot of strategy done by the coaches. That's why I credit Christy Jones on the work she's been able to do, even in high school. Like just talking about your high school team, she's been able to like still build those dynasties. It takes a lot of strategy, with game plans, practices, and you got to find a way to like divvy up how many points each player has in order to build a successful winning team. And that's something that can be tough. And if you don't follow it, there's penalties, right? There's like, is it like technical fouls and stuff, right?
Yes. Yep.
That's
exactly.
So it's the refs and they're on top of it at the scores table, making sure this doesn't happen. And with the college thing, then talking sophomore year now for Jacob's team, the Mustangs. They've been, they have 8 games played this year. They're 3-5 overall, and there's been some games canceled, right? Is that due to COVID?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So COVID ended up canceling a trip to Nebraska, Omaha for Jacob, which, was kind of a bummer there. And with that, then were you able to stay longer in Georgia for Christmas, or how long were you? Was it like a week?
Yeah. Yeah.
You had to get right back into the groove of things, get back practicing.
Exactly. Yeah.
For the squad.
Definitely.
And I just want to talk a little bit about the schedule here, because I mentioned a team in Wisconsin we'll talk about. Whitewater. UW Whitewater is involved in this, which is awesome to see that, Wisconsin's getting involved with it. Because like I said, it's not really a big thing right now in Wisconsin, which is just sad to see. I'm hoping, we can really make this a thing in Wisconsin, because there's a lot of, Wisconsin Whitewater being a D3 school. There's certainly, I'm at a D1 school in UW Milwaukee. And I just want to point out, there's got to be more. There at least has to be another team in Wisconsin, because Whitewater is the only team in Wisconsin.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. So my point made right there. Only one team in Wisconsin. You would expect like Madison, to maybe starting getting involved with this, just to kind of even like locally, like the high school, like with the adaptive sports we mentioned with Georgia. Like we got to see this happen now more. I think just in areas of Wisconsin at the high school level, even the grade school level, because they have the JV Sharks. They even do a JV team, right, for Houston County?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
Yeah, so that's a plus right there. And not many schools, though, evolved. And let's talk then about some upcoming games you got. You guys play Auburn. This is at University of Missouri, January 28th. So that's coming up. That's this Friday. So
yep.
Are you guys leaving in a few days then for this trip?
Yeah, we are. Yeah. Yes, we are. Yeah.
Awesome. And you're looking forward to it?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Sure, yeah.
And then you guys also play
nice.
University of Texas, Arlington, Missouri then. And then you play Arlington again. But then next tournament, because how they really do this, because there's not many teams in the wheelchair basketball at the collegiate level. How they do it is they kind of do tournaments, so all the teams are there, right? And in order to make it a lot easier on that's how they do it for transportation purposes, which totally makes sense. You guys play Whitewater again at the University of Illinois tournament. So go to Illinois, play Whitewater, play the University of Illinois. So I had to emphasize the. And you got also coming up then February 25th to February 26th, University of Arizona you go. So are you going to be playing Jordan Kozlowski's team, or is there girls? Do they do girls and guys?
No. Yes, yeah.
Yep. Because I bring that up because we have seen that in at the high school level, it's all co-ed, right? It's all
you're correct.
So that's why I bring that up. There's a difference then at the collegiate level. They all guys and then all girls. There's no co-ed team anymore, right? Because that was just high school and JV.
Yes, yeah, correct. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then, so Arizona, which maybe Jordan will be there to cheer on, her former teammate, unless she's got something going on. Have you been in contact with her? Or has it just been a while?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, it's been a while. But let's talk then about the NIWBT Championships. That's really like the conference thing, right? The national.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And that's in Arlington this year. So you're going to Texas, right? Or do you have to qualify?
Yes.
You're automatically going?
Yeah.
Awesome. Jacob Stevens is going to Texas, and So that's kind of rounds out like the schedule there for the wheelchair basketball team for the Mustangs. And Jacob's been able to get some pretty good minutes when he's been able to get some good minutes, he's put up some great numbers, which I want to talk about, right? Because you right now are 7 for 8 from the field during the regular season, correct? I believe that's what I saw. Yeah. So that's a incredible percentage. But as we mentioned, with his number being a 4, that really kind of hinders more play time, which just is a bummer to see because, he's shooting 88% from the field. You would think, players shooting that would be gaining a lot more play time. And you're also, have you missed a layup yet? I don't think you've missed a layup yet either, Jacob. 2 for 2 from the layups, they say. Because they really do, as I mentioned with this website, they do a great job just breaking down, stats and stuff, giving us those just total stats and just percentages, which is awesome to see. Because as I mentioned, high school, we didn't get to see this a lot. So we get to see their offensive and rebound percentage too. And just overall, they do a running score to kind of keep track, how like runs and stuff. So just to break down their website. And Jacob, just looking through it, you've been able to get into 2 games. So when he's been in 2 games, he's shot 7 for 8. So hopefully, with that being said, hopefully they get you some more minutes because being in 2 games only and making 7 shots, right? That's gotta be something that's gotta be looked at, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and coaches probably noticed that too. And I want to talk now more about like the atmosphere, kind of how it's been there. Have you been able to meet a lot of friends in?
Yeah.
Yeah. So being able to, and that's been a great thing for you. Sports. We talked about it, the beauty of it. With you not being the most outgoing guy, meeting teammates and stuff, and that's been crucial, I think, for you. And talking academics, then, what are you majoring in, right?
For
school.
Address this. That's the
justice, right? So like a justice kind of administration.
Yes.
Yes. I thought, right, weren't you going originally for something with computer science?
Yes. Yeah.
So you changed your major. Okay. Because last time I remember last year it was. So with that now, can you kind of give us like a long-term career goal with justice administration? Is it like kind of like criminal justice related or?
Well, yes. Yeah.
Like working.
I don't really know the exact job.
Okay. So
exactly, but
like kind of security, like cyber security, if it's kind of because with you computers.
Yes. Yeah.
Let me. Yeah. So like cyber crime. Let me check this out. Right. I want to make sure we get it right. What it is. So yes, it's called cyber crime security. Right. And that's something you're looking into being a part of. And that's something growing right now.
Yes.
Because if we look at, just security threats and just overall, with the growth of technology and just how it's been evolving, certainly it's been evolved and, they get pros and cons. And one of them is just the increase of hackers and such. And good to see you want to put a stop to that within the web. So kind of be like a cyber police preventer. Yeah. That's what we'll call you, Jacob. And just with like adjustments that I want to talk about, because, knowing in high school, right, you weren't big into weightlifting?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you weren't?
Right? Sure. Yeah. No.
Okay. So no, you weren't. I was just making sure. And with that, now
Definitely
in college, it had to have been a complete 180 because we know college, they like to make you lift.
Sure
and even
definitely.
So with that program that they have with the Mustangs, they really put together, I'm sure, a great program to really make your teammates and yourself achieve great athletic success by movements. Because some players on Jacob's team, right, some of them can't like get out of the wheelchair because with you being a class 4, you're able to. So
yes,
they really, I'm sure they do a great job of tailoring workouts, to different people's needs. And that's something that I think is just awesome to see. Just really, recognizing each player's strength and recognizing each player's needs and just being able to like create a program that kind of, deals with both is just something very important for your team. And I mentioned the 3-5 record, but looking through the roster, you guys are a young team. You really are. Juniors, dominated by juniors, sophomores, and freshmen. So a lot of players with more eligibility and only a few seniors sprinkled in there. So things are looking up for this basketball team, and they're still 3-5, so a couple games under 500. So nothing to really be upset about either. So I'm certainly looking forward to how you guys perform the next few years, because it's been good to see, Jacob, all the success, you overcoming everything you've overcame. Because if you look, without, wheelchair basketball, coming into it, like, you might have not even been where you are today in Minnesota. So just the journey, decisions, how they really impact, what you've been able to do in your life. And, those obstacles, like with kyphosis and the speech impediment. I think it's just something that, I myself find really inspirational. I'd say, something we don't see every day. And I really thank you for coming on, Jacob, to share your story with me. And it's been a lot of fun. And I wish you the best, Jacob, for the rest of the year. And, for the rest of your few years here, academically and athletically. Have fun out there, keep playing basketball, keep playing your game, and the minutes will come. They really will.
Yes.
So, All right. So with that, guys, thank you all for listening to yet another episode of Jordon and Drew, the Sports Crew, the perfect podcast for you.